It's amazing that after 9 months, Russia still has not captured Bakhmut. I mean, they have been trying for so long. And of course, this has been what I think is a little bit of a vanity project for Mr. Prigozhin and his Wagner group. Fortunately, the Russians have got so much internal strife going on. Prigozhin and Shoigu hate each other. So you don't see any examples or evidence of a joint integrated fight or a cohesive command structure or a cohesive plan for the way ahead. And this much ballyhooed Russian offensive, but it was kind of just a little bit more of the same, a few more missiles, a few more unlucky conscripts. And I do think that they have culminated and that they are trying to hang on to what they have. So building of defenses, that sort of thing, in hopes that we will grow tired of this and that the Ukrainians would not be able to have enough capability to launch their own counteroffensive. I think that's what the Russians are hoping for, but of course, I think they're sadly mistaken. The part I cannot explain, of course, is why is it that it seems the women of Iran are more courageous than the people of Russia? I mean, why? I'm not a Russia expert, and I know they have this immense, comprehensive internal security structure, and also the culture doesn't create the incentives for people to come out in the street. But I think it feels like around the edges, you hear a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more as people get the courage to speak out, to complain. You know, the famous mothers who were so visible during Afghanistan, you start to see little bits and pieces of that now. Not enough to change Kremlin policy, but it's there. And I think if the Kremlin were to announce another mobilization, it would be another humiliating exodus of thousands of military-age males leaving the country again. There's no doubt that the recently indicted President Putin, by the way, has worked hard over the last 2 decades to capture the historical narrative, to take the narrative of the Soviet Union and make it the narrative of Russia. And I think you made a good point that perhaps during the time of the Soviet Union, where you still had people that had literally survived, their parents and grandparents, and even themselves survived the so-called Great Patriotic War, where the Soviet Union was attacked. That's missing now. And I think, of course, there will be a percentage of people, just like there are in the United States, a large percentage of people that will buy into this false narrative. But I think younger Russians probably don't feel the threat that Putin describes out there. And I think that's what makes this a little bit different. I mean, when they announced the mobilization last September and 500,000 military-age males left the country, that was a heck of an insight into how Russians think about this. This nonsense about Crimea is like Holy Land almost for the Russians. No, it's not. It's a great place to go holiday. But when those people, you remember the video of the people at the beach there when the air base nearby was hit. I mean, the next day they were driving as fast as they could to get out of there. Nobody was going to the recruiting office saying, "Hey, I want to fight and defend Crimea." No, I mean, I can remember as a lieutenant in 1981 in northern Germany, everything was about deterrence. It was the height of the Cold War. We were modernizing big exercises. And I can vividly remember my battalion commander talking about the importance of maintenance. You had to be ready to fight tonight. We didn't want to have convoys with vehicles broken down on the side of the Autobahn because that would send a signal to the Soviets that we were not ready to fight. And so, I mean, there was an intensity about readiness that you would expect when your potential adversary just 3 or 4 hours away on the other side of the inter-German border with 1 million troops and part of their own alliance, the Warsaw Pact,